guys, it's Lainey here with Steel Strength Training. I'm the nutrition specialist here at Steel, and today we're going to talk about sleep. All right, this is Finn. Sorry if he's in all my videos. You've probably seen him before. But yes, we're going to talk about sleep, something that we all love to do and need to do, but that doesn't mean that we get enough sleep, and it also is pretty common that we don't really know why we need it. We know we don't feel good after we don't get enough sleep, but there's some specific things and facts that I think would be helpful, especially those who are working out at Steel. It's just really kind of a key component in performance, health, hormone health, and all the things. So first off, let's talk about recommendations. Finn, what do you have to say? Finn gets all his sleep, I'll tell you that. But yeah, so specific recommendations, I would say 7 to 9 hours every night is a pretty realistic recommendation. I think men can get away with 7 a lot better than women can. So I would say women need more 8 and more hours, I think is a good recommendation. So women often need more sleep in terms of hormone health, but also it's harder for women to have deep sleep consistently because kind of our minds are going a lot more, and it's harder to kind of get in that deep stage of sleep as long as men can. So if you've noticed, like your dad or brother or husband or whatever will just like fall asleep so fast, and they will stay asleep a lot easier. They can sleep anywhere a lot easier than women can. Women kind of are going to be like, oh, I need this certain type of mattress, I need the lights off. Not all the time, but I've just noticed that women normally are the ones that have more sleeping issues. And so that's kind of where that comes into play, is that I've always heard that like, oh, women need more hours of sleep, we need more sleep, and that is true, but I think a lot of that is true because women don't get as consistently deep sleep as men do. So that was something that I found in my research. And then another thing, there was a study done in relation to weight gain and sleep and how those correlate. And so it often is known that when there's less sleep consistently, so less than 5 hours of sleep, there can be consistent weight gain. And I never really understood why, but in my research I found that the main reason why is because when your body gets stressed out, your metabolism gets stressed out from lack of sleep, your body automatically makes this appetite hormone called ghrelin. Okay, so ghrelin is what makes you hungry. It's what makes you have an appetite. And so when you get less sleep, it actually produces more ghrelin. And a lot of that reasoning that your body does that is because you're running low on energy. And so guess what food gives you? Energy. You guessed right. So yeah, that it really makes sense in terms of how our body operates, but the end result of that can be weight gain. So kind of hormone imbalances unfold whenever we have consistent lack of sleep. Our appetites and metabolism can get screwed up, and so that's why it's super important to have consistent hours of sleep, because something I learned in school is that whenever we lack sleep for a lot of time, a lot of people use the phrase, hey, I need to catch up on sleep. And while it is true in a way that your body gets super tired over time and needs to sleep more, but you technically can't catch up on sleep. You can't kind of cover up not sleeping for 2 days or whatever it is. So that's not saying you're going to be screwed over if you don't get enough sleep for 1 week. But consistency, that's a theme in all of my videos and working with clients, is that consistency is key. So if we're consistently getting bad sleep and we're not getting the same relative hours per night, our body is going to suffer because our body loves equilibrium, it loves homeostasis, and so we want to keep our sleep and our routines as regular as we can in realistic amounts. So that's something that I emphasize, and kind of some ways to do that is going to be going to bed at the same time. So something that I've noticed in my sleep schedule is that if I don't go to bed at, let's say 9:30 is the goal, but I don't ever really get that. If I go to bed at 10:30 one night and then 9:30 the next night, I don't have an easy time falling asleep, and I don't stay asleep as well. But if I stay in a consistent pattern, okay, I'm going to wake up at this time, I'm going to go to bed at this time, I sleep better, my body knows what to expect, my melatonin is kicking in at the right time. And so I think that's a very important aspect of, like, yes, you're not going to go to bed every single night at the same time, but having that priority is going to be super helpful in terms of what to expect. Your body knows what to expect in terms of that. And sometimes I find like my routine in just life will fall into place more when I make that a priority, and I can get more things done if I just plan it out right. And so I think that is helpful. Waking up early, this doesn't have to do with health as much, but just a life tip. My husband's really good at waking up early, and I always was kind of against that. I was kind of more of like, go to bed at 10:30, wake up at 7:30 type of person. But when I got married and I started going to bed at 9:30 and then waking up at 6 or earlier, I feel like I can get so much more done. My cortisol levels are lower because I'm not getting all the stuff I need to get done at night, but I'm getting it done in the morning when the sun's coming up. I'm getting my coffee, and your brain's fresher. I just feel like that helps my melatonin, my hormones kind of kick in at the right time. So a lot of ways I like to think about things is like, okay, how did God create the earth? He created the sun to go down at a certain time and for it to come up at a certain time. And so I feel like it's a good habit to, not that we have to sleep the whole time the sun is down, but I think it is a good idea to get up when the sun comes up. I just think that's helpful in terms of health, in terms of things you need to get done, but that's just a 2 cents. It doesn't have to do with health as much. But yeah, I think those are the main things. And in terms of that study that was done with women who had less than 5 hours of sleep, 34% of them actually gained weight with less than 5 hours of sleep. And so I think going back to my recommendation, 7 to 9 hours is definitely prime sleep. I think, again, making that be the goal. If you get 6 hours one night, it's not the end of the world. But like I said, consistency is key. We need to aim for what is best for our bodies, and that is going to be 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Another thing to note about sleep and weight gain is that whenever you get less sleep, your metabolism is actually affected, which I mentioned earlier, but it also can affect the way that you store fat in your fat storage. So that was something I wanted to mention. And then also going back to kind of consistency and going to bed at the same time, something that will also help with kind of your nighttime routine is limiting your screen time, which I'm sure all of y'all have heard, at least 30 minutes before bedtime. I'm not good about doing this, but it really does help with your sleep cycles, and you can do all the research if you don't believe me, but it is true. Sometimes having like tea before bedtime helps me if you struggle falling asleep. So I talked about ways to help go to sleep, but some ways to help wake yourself up and get your energy levels up. I know sometimes people can struggle with feeling awake, and so something that can often help with your circadian rhythm and energy levels, and just kind of gently letting your body know that it's morning time, is if you have a porch or a yard that gets morning light, that's a great way to sit and read in the sunshine in the morning if you have time and sip your coffee, that is going to get your skin, before you have sunscreen on, since the UV rays are lower, you can still produce vitamin D from the sun reacting with your skin to produce vitamin D. So a lot of people will say, hey, get morning sunshine because it boosts your immune system, your circadian rhythm, and it reduces hormones. And so that would be something I'd recommend. And just letting your body know, hey, here's the sun, it's shining in my face, it's time to wake up. So I think that is a helpful tip, and it also just makes you feel good to get outside in the weather when it's not so hot. It feels really good. So definitely recommend that to wake up. Coffee also helps waking up, but don't wait too long before you eat, or eat with your coffee to regulate your cortisol levels. But other than that, that's really all I have to say about sleep. But yes, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and keep sleeping.